Well, hello, everybody. This is Jaime St. James from the great Black and Blue. And I want to tell you that this is the 40th year anniversary of the Without Love album, which is a great record, great rock and roll. You should check it out. This is We Go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
It's always great catching up with you. You always got gigs going. You guys have been gigging around regularly for a bit. I mean, when you guys fired things up again, you really did. I mean, you've lost some of the classic lineup, but you keep rolling. I mean, and tell me about that first of all. I mean, what's inspired the resurgence of Black and Blue? Because I mean, you guys hit all the cruises, all the festivals, always gigging, doing the fly-ins, all that stuff.
Well, we don't do as many shows as we'd like, but we have kept things together. That's really due to myself, and Patrick Young keep Drive alive. And it's not been easy, but we also got, I don't remember when this happened, 2000 something.
Yeah,
we started going at it again, and it really helped to get the booking agency that we got, the Big Time Entertainment. They are helped get us, being accepted by them was a big deal. So yeah, look, I want to play. Music's in my blood, and I can't stop, and I won't stop. And I enjoy Black and Blue has something. We're still a good band. I can still sing all the songs pretty damn well in the original keys that they were recorded in. So if I couldn't, it might be a different story, but I can. And the band kicks ass. And Pete Holmes is on drums with us. He's had a lot of things going on through the years. He was with Michael Schenker for a little bit. It had a stint with Rat, but he's with us often. He's not with us full time now, and he's always been there. So me, Pat, and Pete have kept it alive, and it's because we love to do it. It's fun, and yeah, to play. We don't get in a van and go play a lot of clubs, although we might do some of that in the year. But we basically like to do the festivals, the cruises, the things that are it's going to be a great gig, and that's what we like to do.
right. And I pulled you in. I was like, hey, would you mind having a conversation about this year, the 40th anniversary of Without Love, which it's one of those records where when I go back and revisit it, back when I discovered it and had it on cassette. My favorite tune's a lot different than the current favorite tune off of that. But going into that record, you guys pulled in a dream team of folks on that record. You had Bruce Fairbairn, Bob Rock was doing some engineering, and so was Mike Frazier. I mean, look what they wound up doing later on. So you guys caught them at an early point there.
That's the ticket there. Nobody, not a lot of people knew they were until we decided to use them, and we didn't know anything about Mike Frazier. He was our second engineer. He was just plugging stuff in, and and he went on to greatness. Bob Rock we wanted Bruce Fairbairn because of what we listened to the stuff that he had done, Lover Boy. And we just thought this might be a good fit. And then Bob Rock, we realized, was huge. Once we got there, engineering wise, and as he co-produced really with Bruce. Bruce was great, but we realized we had a great thing going when we got there. And it was just, we took a shot in the dark, essentially. But man, what a great experience it was. And Little Mountain Studios, this is an amazing studio. We had no idea about Little Mountain. There was a lot of great studios in Los Angeles, yet we went, okay, we're going to Canada, It was a crazy shot in the dark, in a way. So, yeah, we discovered that was quite a team up there. And then once Bon Jovi used them because of the Without Love record, man, it went through the roof.
Did you catch a few years ago when Bon Jovi was on Stern, and he actually said that live on air when he was promoting something. I forget what he was promoting, but he actually cited that particular record. You're
Yeah.
right. I mean that must have been huge at that point, right? To give you guys a little bit of got the name out there a little bit more.
Well, I guess people told me that it was on the Stern show, but I was told that from John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora at the Rainbow. They cornered me and told me, "Hey, Slippery When Wet. The reason why we use them is because of your record Without Love." They told me to my face, so I've known all the years.
Jeez.
But yeah, I did hear that was all. Look, to John Bon Jovi's credit, he's been saying that for years. He's always, as part of his spiel, when it comes to talk about Slippery When Wet, he'll bring up our band and the Without Love record, how it influenced them to use them. So he's always said that, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, huge. That's huge honor, right? I mean, it's so going into this record, I mean, what were you guys? Were the songs already assembled? Did you guys do stuff in studio? I know back in the day there was more of that versus now, where you can record from home and you have the songs kind of pieced together via file sharing and whatnot. But back then, I mean, what was the game plan going into this record?
We had got done touring with Aerosmith in '84, and we were back in town. I think we were doing some off shows, some shows with Dio, some shows with Night Ranger, but we started to get to the rehearsal room, and Tommy and I were writing a lot. And the process back then was you just take a blaster and a cassette blaster and record what you did. And sometimes we'd take two blasters, and I'd record something on this one, then play that so I could record more on this one. It was, medieval recording process, but it worked. Didn't matter. And we started getting the songs together. We had a 4-track Foztex recorder that Geffen Records bought for us. Said, "Here, you guys take this in your rehearsal room, and you can make some good demos so we can hear what you're doing." And so we did have a 4-track. We learned to use pretty good. So all those demos we demoed out probably 20, 25 songs, something like that. But about this time, 40 years ago, we were getting ready to head up to Vancouver to start pre-production. I had to talk to Tommy Thayer this morning because he's my timeline guy. He remembers everything, what we were doing that year, and I don't. He's really good at that. So when I was talking to Tommy, he said, "Oh yeah, ready to go up to Vancouver right about now." We started the process in February of '85, and we rented a theater, and we started playing in this theater to do pre-production with the guys in Canada, Bruce and Bob. And started the process. So it's that's one of the reasons why I said yes to this interview, because it'll be fun to remember and go back what we were doing 40 years ago to make that record.
Yeah, and if in looking at the album, I mean, you look at side A versus side B. I mean, everything on side A is basically like in the set, or even in the set to this day, or has been rotated in and out fairly regularly. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, you got a solid at least half record. There's some good stuff there too on side 2.
Yeah, but Without Love is one of those records where a lot of people will swear they think that's Black and Blue's best record. There's some people that say the first record. We're a weird band because I hear people saying that the last record's their favorite, or Nasty. We didn't do a bad record, really. We did it, but they were a little different. So Without Love, in a lot of ways is my favorite Black and Blue record. I think it was a great record. I think one of the things that was odd was that the first single released off Without Love was Miss Mystery, which was quite a departure from the first record. We had zero say in that. Nothing. They didn't ask us what we thought. They just did. Geffen did what they wanted to do. So boom, MTV video and to radio, Miss Mystery. Maybe one of the other songs could have been a better first shot, because it wouldn't have shocked everybody that, because it was so much different than the first record. But what are you going to do? So it's a great record. And talking about '85. So we started the process now, and we were done, and the album released probably September or October, because in November, Tommy Thayer reminded me that we went on tour with Kiss.
Yeah.
Of the record. So
yeah, it was released in September. So that, I mean, even with that, it was still pretty quick.
it was like, I was surprised talking with Tommy that, man, we did it that fast. It's pretty crazy. We did all the recording. Everybody flew home, and Tommy and I flew back up for the mix. And it all happened pretty quick. But it's to answer your question, to go backwards a little bit here. Yeah, the first side of that album is always all those songs are usually in our set, or usually we play all that side. Mm-hmm. It's a strong side. It's a strong record. I mean, what do you got? I won't get in the right order, but Rockin' on Heaven's Door, Stop the Lightning, Miss Mystery, Without Love, Nature, the Beach. Is that? I think that's it.
Yep, that's
we
on.
play all those still. And Stop the Lightning.
Yeah.
Mystery, of course, are always in our set. Yeah, it's a good strong record. Man, it was so much fun recording it. Black.
Now for yourself, I mean, is there a particular song in there that maybe you're kind of burned out on? And is there a song that you haven't performed on that record that you'd like to throw in the set list at any point?
I'm not burned out on any of it. I think that every now and then, I think maybe we should try Bombastic Plastic from side 2. I love Strange Things on side 2, but it's kind of more of an album cut. We put it in the studio, and doing it live would be a tough. See, Black and Blue, everybody in the band lives in Portland, Oregon, except me. I'm in Southern California, so we don't rehearse all the time. Right. So that would be difficult, but maybe Bombastic Plastic. I think we've played some of that. We played, we got The Fire before. That's Swing Time.
Yeah.
I forgot about that song.
Yeah.
That actually, when we went up to Canada, that was called Blame It on the Neighborhood. And it was different lyrically. And it was Bruce didn't like it lyrically. And so Geffen went along with that, and we had to change it. But anyway, it's a good song. I would try that one live.
Nice. Any of the distractions? I know you in hearing some of the stories from Bon Jovi and Sambora about the distractions that led to the title of Slippery When Wet. I mean, did you guys fall into any of that stuff, and did that influence the record at all for you guys?
Well, musically it is what it is. It was all what we wanted to do, but it was lyrically. For instance, Rockin' on Heaven's Door was originally called Rock and Roll Animals. And I was saying stuff like, maybe we'll come destroy your house, instead of maybe we need to hear our shout or whatever. Right. I lyrically, they would change that because they wanted us, let's be honest with you, Geffen and Fairbairn wanted us to be radio friendly. So whenever I would say something lyrically that was kind of obnoxious, they would try to change that. So Rock and Roll Animals became Rockin' on Heaven's Door. I just thought it sounded like, well, I can still sing the same way, the title is okay. There was just a lot of stuff, individual song wise, that they would want me to change the lyrics.
Right.
The original title for the album from the band was Bombastic Plastic, because that's about a record. Bombastic Plastic, I wrote that song. It's about Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies. And I played that record every day when I was 13 years old, and I loved it to death. And it was so that's really the song about $1 Billion Babies. I play it every day, scratched and skipping all the way.
Wow.
And so we thought Bombastic Plastic would be a great title. We'll have the cover be like a wooden crate, and there's green lights like glowing inside the crate, like what's in there. And it'll just be stamped Bombastic Plastic. And that was our idea. They threw that right out the window.
So was it the label then that suggested you go with Without Love then?
We didn't have anything. We would go into meetings at Geffen, and I'm not kidding about this. This is true. There was a guy came in, and he had these posters that he had drawn up of what the album cover could be. And one of them I totally remember was Dinosaurs Dancing. And it was called Swing Time. And I said, what the hell did Dinosaurs Dancing have to do? I go, no. There was weird covers. a lot of Geffen was coming up with weird things, and they wanted the record out, and there was still nothing because they wouldn't buy our idea. So they just got a photographer to take a picture of some black and blue painted roses against some metal mesh, and said, "Without love, that's what it is." We had no say in it.
What do you think of the artwork? I mean,
it's weak. It's not what we would have wanted, but Geffen refused to let us do some of the things we wanted to do. No, you guys, none of that rock and roll stuff. No women, no fire, no bomb, no stuff like that. It's all got to be something kind of different. Our hands were tied a lot of times, but they didn't even ask us. I mean, I saw the album cover when it was released. I said, "Wow, that's what it is." That's what you get when you're on a big label.
Right. Out of curiosity, I mean, I think Kalodner was on there by that point, right? Because he had done some Hagar stuff. He had done the Aerosmith Done with Mirrors. So
John Kalodner signed us. He was there from day one.
Okay. So what was it working with that guy? Because there's all sorts of stories on him.
I liked John a lot. I loved him. He's the guy that walked up to us at the Troubadour and in 1983 and said, "Welcome to Geffen." Hold his arms out. So I ran up the stairs and hugged him, and he's got a big beard, and I had a skull earring. And when I pulled my head back, my earring was hanging in his beard.
Ouch. Did it tear the skin? Oh, ouch.
It was one of those hook ones. So it just came right out, and I turned Santa Claus. I decorated his beard.
Wow.
John Kalodner. But he said, "Welcome to Geffen." And we were like, yeah, we're on top of the world. John, good guy, and he believed in black and blue. And if you read any of his interviews back in the day, they'll ask him every time, "Is there any album you think that got away with you?" He goes, I never will understand why Without Love didn't go huge for black and blue. I'll never understand it. So he was on board with us, and he was a champion for us. He didn't work against us. The label in general could work against us, but John was pretty much a champion. And when we walked into his office and said, "We want Dieter Dierks for the first record," he made it happen. We said, "We want Bruce Fairbairn, Bob Rock." He said, "You have to have Bob Rock with Bruce Fairbairn." He knew that, made it happen. So, John was good to us.
Nice. What about the tour for supporting this record? What are some memories of that?
Well, we went out with Kiss, and how great is it for a kid who all I did was go to concerts? The two of my favorite bands ever were Aerosmith and Kiss. My first band I toured with is Aerosmith. Next is Kiss. It's incredible, to think about. I got a record deal 5 years after I graduated from high school. And all this stuff is happening for me. So it was an amazing journey. To know that I'm going to go tour with Kiss was insane, the same way it was with Aerosmith. And we did our first show with Kiss, and that's when I first met Gene Simmons. He came up behind me and covered my eyes, I think, or something. I grabbed my face, and he said, "You know why you're on this tour?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because I like you."
Nice. It's interesting you bring up Aerosmith, because there's the bonus cut that you guys recorded that wound up on the cassette and the CD of Without Love. So who selected that one, and whose idea, I guess, was it to work that particular tune into the record?
Me and Tommy. That happened when Tommy and I flew back up to Canada to do the mix. So we were the only ones there. And we all of a sudden got word that Japan wanted a bonus cut, because that's what they usually do. And so we said, we got to do another song. And so we'll just do a cover song. And so it was Tommy on guitar, me doing vocals. The drummer, Matt from Loverboy, played drums on that song.
Oh.
A guy played bass named Spider. He's a Canadian guy. I remember his name was Spider. And we hired a saxophone player, and we went and Bob Rock played rhythm guitar. And we just we rehearsed it a couple of times and went out and just did it almost live. The vocal you hear is most of it live. I had to redo a couple of things. It was a cool song. And it was me and Tommy's idea to do Same Old Song and Dance. Maybe it was just because we just got done with Aerosmith and they were on our mind, but we knew, I love the old Aerosmith stuff. So, and Kalodner actually played it for Steven Tyler and he loved it. So
Wow. So that's interesting. So it was a collective of folks and yourself and Thayer on that one.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice. Uh, the other thing too is what was the reception abroad for the album? You know, I know you just mentioned the bonus cut for Japan. Typically, they do ask for extra material up there, but overall, the reception for the Without Love album abroad.
Oh, I don't know. It's. I know that in Great Britain, the nature of the beach was the B side of a Madonna single. Madonna released a single called "The Gambler" in Great Britain, and we were the B side. They do weird things like that over there. So that was, I don't even know how that happened, but I don't even know if I don't know how well it did in Europe. We didn't tour Europe. We didn't go over there at all. So I'm not sure. Japan, I'm sure it probably did pretty good because our first record did really well in Japan. We went over there and played 2 nights sold out, Sun Plaza in Tokyo. 2 nights sold out, no opening band, just Black and Blue. It was great. I think before us, they played videos. It was weird, but it was a sold out big place, thousands of people. We played it. We did a tour. We did Osaka, a couple other cities. But so I think the second album probably did pretty good there.
Yeah.
Don't know how it did in Europe. Well, I don't think we ever did very well in Europe for some reason.
Interesting. I mean, now it seems like you look at some of the websites and you have a lot of like Scandinavian,
Yeah.
folks posting about Black and Blue and their love for the band and particular records that they really enjoy. So, I mean, I think over time, obviously things get out, but that's interesting. The trip to Japan, I mean, what was the highlight of that for you aside from the gigs?
Just being in Japan, I never had gone anywhere when I was young. When I was a kid, I never left Portland, Oregon. I never even saw the ocean until I was like 16 or something like that.
Mm.
I mean, I would never got anywhere. So to go to a place like Japan was strange because, man, did I stick out like a sore thumb. And I'm 6 feet and my hair, yeah, I'm walking around. I had it to be long, but I thought, man, you really know you're somewhere else in the world. And it was interesting and cool to me. I just to be there was amazing.
Right.
Great country. It was great time. And doing the shows was incredible because they all knew our music. And I mean, we land at the airport and we get to some place immediately, and it's mobs of people waiting for us to sign stuff, and they give you presents, And I had a Jamie doll. Somebody had made a doll carved with my face with clothes I actually wore. They did it from a photo or something, and it was like amazing. All this stuff we started getting. Now it's just a different world.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
One of the things that oftentimes in this day and age is that's become somewhat of a thing, that bands do. I mean, would you ever be interested in performing the album top to bottom for a special event? I mean, we just talked about, some of the tunes, half the album's already in rotation for the set. There's other stuff that deeper cuts that you could probably insert. I don't know how tasking that would be for you guys. I know, you're out in LA, the other guys are in Oregon and stuff, but is that something of interest to you? And how would you guys approach something like that?
Well, we did it one time. We on the last Monsters of Rock cruise we dedicated one of our shows because last year, 40-year anniversary of the first record. So we played the first record in its entirety, start to finish, and we can do that. I fly up to Portland and rehearse when I have to. I'm not that lazy. So we, if we wanted to do the second record, we could. I think it's better for Black and Blue when we go out just to play our best of music, on a special occasion because we played the cruise so many times. I thought let's do a first album for them. We're not on the cruise on any cruise in 2025, so we probably won't do that again. But it was fun to do the first time. But I like mixing it up, honestly, and I think people did too. But it's possible to do, but I don't know if we will.
Right. Okay. Nice. The last thing, I mean, a few more things, and then I'll cut you loose. Thanks so much, man. This is great chatting Without Love with Jamie, because I mean I've been a fan for a bit, from the get go. Discovered it on cassette. Never really got into the vinyl thing myself, and now CD and streaming and whatnot. But I was at the show that you guys did at the Key Largo way back when.
Oh man.
It was a Halloween gig, and you guys had reunited. Take us back to that. What resulted in that coming together? How did you guys reconvene? And what do you think of the overall performance? I mean, I have the CD of it, and man, that sounds just like it did that night.
It was great. We hadn't played together. We hadn't done a show together in years. I don't remember how many years, but we said, well, let's do this. It was really because Tommy's brother, John, had formed a little record label. And he's the one that said, hey, let's do a Black and Blue Live album, and we thought about it. And then we got a friend, Pat Regan, involved, who was able to do like a mobile unit up there. And because all that worked out the way it did, we said, let's do this, And it was a fun as hell night because, just us. We rehearsed I think maybe 1 or 2 rehearsals and then just went out and played the show. And it, look, the only, I think I overdubbed some vocals because some of, there was a couple things out of tune. But other than that, I had to redo some of the lead vocals. Other than that, I think it is what it is. But it sounds fantastic, and that's due to guy Pat Regan, right, who was a friend of mine and a friend of Tommy's for many years. He's a genius engineer, producer, and he made it sound that good. I listened to that thing. The last time I listened to it, I said, God, man, that sounds good. It is a good sounding live record.
Yeah.
Really.
I have it in my car. So I listen to it all the time.
Truth be told, we enhanced the crowd because it's a club. So I think we used a little bit of Deep Purple's live crowd to put it. It was the crowd's totally fake, but
yeah,
you can't have, we wanted it to sound big.
Yeah. Right.
So there you go. Cat's out of the bag on that.
Well, there you go. Again, lots of great memories. Black and Blue gigs. I mean, that's one. And then you guys did the benefit for Pete and his wife.
Yes.
Oregon Music Hall of Fame. I mean, there's been lots of great gigs that I've watched Black and Blue, and some of the cruises as well. I wasn't at the one where you guys did the debut record, but lots of great stuff with Black and Blue, man.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame show was a lot of fun. We were really good. I saw some video on YouTube of that recently, and I sent it to Tommy. As I said, listen, we were really on fire that night. And he says, yeah, we sound really great. And again, we hadn't played together in a long time, but it's all, we've got a magic when we get together. When we did the Kiss cruise a couple of years ago, Tommy came out on stage with us and played like 3 or 4 songs, and it sounded fantastic. Same thing with, Pete's wife's benefit that we played, made a lot of money for her before she passed away, which is a great thing. We sounded really good. It's fun to play, but to come back, I got to say that it's a cool thing. 40 years now since the Without Love album came out, and it's my favorite Black and Blue record for a few reasons. I like a lot of songs on all our records, but that one, if I had to pick one as a whole, is my fave, and I just think it's a shame that it didn't go through the roof, but this is what life gives you sometimes, but I think it's had all the goods and all the magic to have done much better than it did. And I'm not the only one that thinks so. I'm close to it. So of course I'm going to think that, but a lot of people do. And I think if you don't know that record, you ought to go out and check it out if you like this type of music, because it's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah. In closing, a couple of things, and then I will let you go so you can move about your day. If you were to pick one song that you would say, hey, check this one song off this record, which one would it be and why?
One song?
Yes, one.
Oh, man. Uh, the first one that comes to mind, I'd say, if you don't know anything about this band and you've never heard of us before, go listen to a song called Auto Blast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in every show we do. And it might give you a little clue as to how good we are.
Yeah. That's awesome. Would you happen to have a Spinal Tap-ish moment that you could share? This will be for We Go to 11, so there's a little bit of a Spinal Tap thing to it.
Geez, I'm sure that I do, but I mean, the only one that comes to mind. I mean, look. There's probably 100 of them. I probably wanted to forget, but the one thing that does come to mind that it was an embarrassing moment for me was on stage with Aerosmith, some arena, and we opened with Auto Blast, by the way. I come running out, grab my mic stand, and pull it up to do my thing. Well, they had ran the cord. It wasn't wireless. They run my cord under the monitor that was in front of me, big heavy monitors. Well, when I picked it up, the monitor rolled right off the stage into the pit and took the cord from the mic and everything right out of my hand, and I had nothing. I was just standing there. And there's 15,000 people standing there, and I had nothing. I was in shock. Like, I just went out into my mind. It was like a magic trick.
Poop gone. Nice.
Holy shit. And so I ran over and started to sing in Tommy's mic until Screw noticed it and started setting me up with a new setup. But I was like, gone.
Nice.
I'm looking at everybody, and I just hold my hands up there and go, Jesus, what do I do?
Right. Nice. Thanks so much. What a story, man.